Hello and welcome. You're with IndiaPostLive.com, India's first live news, very interactive news conversation web TV. And today, exit poll predictions are out on various TV channels. An array of predictions by various exit pollsters have in fact come out with lots of numbers, and most of them predicting an easy majority for the BJP. In fact, the NDA getting a huge margin of seats, over 250 plus. So we'll try and get some analysis and perspective on what the exit polls have predicted. To take this conversation forward, in the studio we have Mr. Dileep Cherian, who's an image guru. Thank you so much for joining us at the conversation on India Post Live. We also have from Chennai Mr. Venkatesh Atreya. He's a professor, adjunct professor and an economist with the Asian College of Journalism in Chennai. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us with your views. We also have Rahul Verma, who's a researcher with the CSDS. And we have Mr. Gaurav Jain from Delhi, who's a journalist and a political analyst. Thank you so much, all of you. It'll be an exciting half hour ahead to get all the perspective and analysis from all of you on the exit polls. I'll come to you, Mr. Cherian. What are your first thoughts in terms of getting the numbers together for individual parties, if you look at BJP and the Congress and the AAP?
I think the numbers look like they're all lined up fairly steadily. There doesn't seem to be a huge variation. So the themes seem to be the same. What one has to figure out is whether it's the mood of the moment which is reflected in the opinion polls, and whether all pollsters are kind of aligned, except for, I think, Chanakya, who's gone out on a limb and put himself way ahead as far as BJP is concerned. Everybody seems to be in the 250 range, as you said. So I think it's worth figuring out as we chat whether everyone's aligned themselves because that's the mood of the moment, or whether that's actually what you're going to see on May 16th.
And does it seem like with BJP getting such huge numbers that they won't be in any need of allies, but they have kept the communication lines open to, try and work out a formula ahead?
I think keeping communication lines open is more a matter of strategic intent and, in inverted commas, showing levels of democratic impulse, rather than necessarily a belief that there is need to integrate them into a government. In my view, any Modi Sarkar would prefer to have a bunch of small allies and parties rather than some elephant sitting in the room alongside.
Right. I'll just go to Professor Venkatesh. Sir, you're joining us from Chennai. What is the mood like when you come across all the TV channel exit polls? What are the feelers you're getting in terms of the numbers that the pollsters have come up with this time?
Viewers go back to the 2004 and 2009 records of exit polls and channels, and are not terribly impressed by the track record. Having said that, as the other panelists said, they all seem to be converging on some sets of numbers at the moment. I suspect that these are overestimates of Bajpa NDA support. If you go back to 2009 election, where Bajpa got 116 seats, and you have the CSDSC and they've been giving them 242 this time. I'm trying to figure out where the doubling comes from. It's a bit difficult to visualize it. So I think the vote share calculations may not be widely off the mark, but the seat conversions remain problematic. And I suspect, I stick to my earlier estimate last night that I expect the NDA at around 240, 250. I don't see them surging. And this is, of course, Chanakya's 291 for Bajpa is certainly way out. I have no reason to believe that this kind of outcome will happen. So I look at Tamil Nadu, I look at southern states, I look at the eastern states. Yes, BJP would have made some inroads with the whole, the anti-incumbency with the UPA too. Not so much a Modi wave, but an anti-UPA sentiment across the country. But that doesn't necessarily translate into seats. And I think that we need to have much more information on the transparency of these polls, the methodology and so on, and how they convert seats to votes to seats and so on, before we can actually be even reasonably confident that they are not widely optimized. The track record has been awful, as they would probably not be happy to admit, but the track record has been pretty awful so far.
Right. Mr. Rahul Verma, if you're listening into the comments, what would you say in terms of the over-optimistic Chanakya figures to the NDA about 291? Do you feel that, that's being a little too over-optimistic?
So I cannot say much about the Chanakya poll because I haven't, like, I've just seen their final numbers. I'm not sure if they made any state level projections. So it's really like I think one can say that their numbers are a bit high compared to all other polls. So, uh, like I think six polls were on air yesterday, and four of them had really a very similar number. So I think CNN, IBN, C Voters, India TV, and Cicero India Today Group, and one more channel. So they four had a like fairly similar result where they were projecting somewhere around 270 mark for NDA, and then Times Now poll was giving a bit low, which
Yes.
was around 50, and then the Chanakya is at like 300 plus. So I think only a couple of polls got into the state level analysis, and without getting a clear state level picture, I think making just a national projection is not prudent.
Right. Professor Atreya, sir, in terms of looking at the UPA's numbers that have been given by the C voter and by a lot of other pollsters, compared to 2009 of 259 in 2009, this time the range is between 91 to 111. Professor, what are your views on that? Does it seem like a completely dismal performance and very discouraging to, the Congress party?
Well, UPA performance will be much, much worse than it was in 2009 for sure. But these numbers, 90 to 100 and so on, they may be underestimates. I mean, you take DMK in Tamil Nadu, for example, it's not going to be a wipe-off. DMK will get quite a significant number of seats. So I think that maybe UPA as a whole is being somewhat underestimated. Also, the definitions of what the UPA, I'm not sure if they're identical across different surveys. But if you think of the new UPA constituents, I suspect that they would be down to something like 90 to 100 and all that. I think even Congress itself might get close to 100. I don't think, we did the same thing last time. We underestimated the Congress so much in 2009, and they ultimately ended up with 200 on their own. Obviously, this time around, they're going to do much, much worse. I mean, that's for sure. I think general direction of all the exit polls is in line with what political instinct would suggest. But there is the continuing tendency to overestimate certain formations. First of all, the Bajpa. Secondly, the National Party. And the tendency to underestimate UP projection, for example, 50 odd seats for Bajpa simply means that you have to have minority and Mulayam continue to have a speech there. And likewise, some of the 29% vote share for the LDF in Kerala is a bit of a joke, the poll that I saw. And so apparently the explanation for that was given, saying that V.S. Achyutanandhan didn't participate. It was completely untrue. This time V.S. Achyutanandhan was completely in the thick of the campaign, much greater unity on the LDF. So 29% vote share for the LDF in Kerala was just one of the polls. I don't want to mention which one. So some of these serious problems are there in the estimate of vote share. I'm not sure what kind of sampling they adopted, what was the approach, what was the situation, and so on. So I keep harping on this theme that exit polls are notoriously unfair. Carefully done post-poll surveys, yes, I will agree with that. And there I will give you the vote share. But not with seat shares. That again gives no proper formula from the kind of seats. It remains a puzzle, and we make wild guesses. So I am not impressed by the numbers they're throwing up, except that general direction is all right. I mean, obviously India is in the most better, and so on. But I think UPA is being underestimated a little bit. Not by much, but a little bit.
Right. I'll bring in Mr. Gaurav Jain, senior journalist and political analyst at this point. Mr. Gaurav, do you agree with what our panelists are talking about in terms of the variations and over-optimistic or playing down the certain numbers in terms of alliance-wise breakup?
While there is a clear sway, not sway, but clear inclination towards BJP, but these exit polls are undermining the UPA and Congress too much. Uh, During my travel through all the four, at least not all, but at least the four states, UP, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, and Gujarat, there was a clear inclination towards BJP, but those people who have been voting for Congress didn't seem like leaving the boat altogether. So I did find a lot of people, even in Gujarat, for example, in Dahod, who were still highly uh, dissatisfied with the BJP government and hence will vote for Congress. So if things can be uh, pro-Congress within Gujarat, other states can still have Congress can still have a far better show in other states.
Right. At this point, I will bring in and welcome Mr. Yashwant Deshmukh, a cephalogist with Sea Water, in the studio. Thank you so much for joining us at India Post Live at the conversation. Your first thoughts in terms of the variations between all the pollsters and the numbers that Sea Voters in the exit polls have predicted.
Well, I guess that after 20 years being in this business, I have realized that polling in India is not a T20 match. It's a game of golf. So I would rather compete with myself, set my own standards, and look what my numbers are saying. So I would not like to comment what others are saying, but yes, I mean, if anything that you feel to ask me about my numbers, I would be more than happy to explain them.
Go ahead. We'll just put up the graphics of what Sea Voters' predictions have been. In terms of alliances, in terms of the seat share, the UPA in 2009, Sea Voter predicted 259 seats and about a range of 91 to 111. This time the exit poll has said 101. The NDA getting 159 in 2009, and this time a range of 279 to 299 with a change of over 130.
Right.
And the others getting about 125 in 2009, whereas 153 this time around. So a range of 143 to 163.
Right.
A total of 543. Right. So if you could just take us through with your analysis on this.
You see, if you are following my figures of our tracking poll, which we started almost a year back with Times Now and India TV, you can very clearly see a secular trend. 1 year back, when we did our first major nationwide survey, we had said Congress is losing, but definitely losing, but NDA is definitely not winning. 1 year back, that was the and the reason was that there was a vacuum of leadership, big time, and at that point of time, neither Advani nor other BJP leaders, so whatsoever the leadership fraternity was, unable to actually fill up that vacuum. So what has changed between 12 months? Obviously, the agent of change was declaration of Modi as the prime ministerial candidate. Right. So there is no denial that we cannot keep on denying ourselves, say that, okay, this has not happened. This certainly has happened, but my headline remains the same what it was 1 year back. It is a complete meltdown of Congress. First headline is that it is a debacle of Congress. Second headline is whomsoever in whichsoever state was on the anti-Congress platform got benefited out of it. Now, at the moment, majority of the such states happen to be the BJP. So BJP was the default gainer out of that. Now the question is, if BJP would have gone ahead with the leadership of Advani or anybody else, would that have been into the same thing? Yes and no. Yes, there would have been a default gain, but that would have been very, very limited. But with Modi, it has certainly gone to the peak in a way that it has scored to the hilt for a simple reason that in any election campaign, when you come up with a manifesto, you are talking about promises. I will do that, I will do that, this and that. Even Congress manifesto and Rahul Gandhi kept on saying, we will do this again. We have done this much slightly, but we want to do this much again. 1 year back, the moment Modi was starting escalating, if you observe for the last 6 months, Modi's campaign and his interaction, starting with the Sri Ram College students, which was the first major TV interaction, I would say.
Right.
Give me one single line Modi says that I will do this. You ask Modi anything and he said, I did that. Everything that you ask Modi about, any policy, anything he said, started, I did. In my Gujarat, I did that. The health, I did that. Economy, I did that. Sports, I did that. This, I did that. That, I did that. Now, when you are having a comparative analysis, qualitatively speaking, I will do this and I did that. That makes a hell of a difference. Hell of a difference. And this is where I feel that the brand Modi scored big time.
Do you feel exit polls are more about perceptions, and over the years we've seen 2004, 2009, it's all become a game of perceptions in terms of what the alliances or what party-wise the pollsters predict?
With respect to Yashwant here, and because we've flayed Chanakya because of he's an outlier, I'm a great believer in outliers, meaning like Nassim Taleb, I believe that taking a risk is a good thing. The only thing is that sometimes it's good, and because several people in this conversation have talked about it, I think methodology and accuracy are bound to be linked. So a lack of transparency on methodology is something that bothers me at this point of time. And as I said, we do need to respect the fact that each one has a methodology which probably leads them to improving their golfing scores, as Yashwant was talking about. So I hope that's right. Now, putting that to the side, the fact is that whether it is a Cicero or whether it's a Nielsen, each one seems to be heading broadly in the same direction. Some guys are far ahead down that street and others are lagging, except for
ORG.
ORG.
On Times
ORG.
Square.
ORG seems to have taken a much more conservative basis.
Right.
Unfortunately, in this environment of fast lane Twitter and Facebook traffic, you simply cannot be in the slow lane and expect the same amount of attention, even with young Arunabh screaming. So I think you're going to have a situation where the May 16th, play out is going to also determine the kind of sensibility that a lot of pollsters, with respect to Yashwant sitting here, will end up with as to whether they've bettered their score or whether they've had a setback in terms of their stroke and style.
I totally agree. And in terms of methodology, Dilip has been, he has watched me grow in the last 20 years. I mean, when I first did my poll 20 years back, he has seen me growing like that. And I realized very early in my inning as a pollster, before I was a broadcast journalist, that India is different, and you need to innovate, you need to go further. So first big thing that in my polling that I can say, there is no secret sauce. I like to spread my sample. Say for example,
Right.
India doesn't have any swing zone, to be precise. You cannot think of India doing 100 constituencies and apply that swing on 543. That doesn't really happen. I'm sorry. So we covered all 543.
Right.
So if I am telling you a trend from Ladakh, it is not based on my trend from coming from Srinagar.
Yeah.
If I am telling you, say, trend from Lakshadweep, it is not coming trend from Kerala. So I am getting my trends from all 543 whatsoever I am getting it. The way I am applying it, we are doing all the innovations and constantly learning,
Right.
because each of these 543 is a different ball game. India is a pollster's, I would say, nightmare.
Nightmare.
It's a pollster's nightmare.
Let's just look at it in terms of the differences and variations alliance-wise. We have a graphics up on the screen here. In terms of the news channels or all the organizations attached to it, the pollsters with ABP gave NDA about 281 and UP about 97, others 141. The ORG Times Now gave NDA 249, UPA 148 and others 129. And if you look at CNN IBN, gave NDA 272 to 280 and about UPA 92 to 102, whereas others got a much better margin than the UPA, 111 to 143. Headlines today looking at NDA with 261 to 283, very optimistic. UPA getting about 110 to 120 and others 150 to 162. So far better than what the other channels gave. CNN, that's what Headlines Today gave it. And Chanakya gave NDA 340, the number that we are discussing, and UPA about 70, a very dismal 70, whereas others got 121. And India TVC voter gave NDA 289, 101 to UPA, and others got 133. So if we compare this, if we also look at party-wise, the news channels that gave individual predictions, ABP gave BJP 249 and Congress about 73, whereas the left got 24 and the AAP 3. Times Now ORG gave BJP 210, whereas they gave Congress about 105 and the left 17. They did not give any seats to AAP, and CNN IBN gave BJP 230 to 242, Congress 72 to 82, very interesting point there, and left 14 to 20, whereas they gave AAP 7. Another number we could also analyze. Headlines Today gave 221 plus to the BJP, while Congress got about 85 plus seats and the left getting 19 and 2 for the AAP.
I think just similarly, if it would be really good if, and I would request you to do this exercise because you are trying to analyze them properly. Let me tell you and viewers very clearly, exit poll or the pre-poll exercises are meant to map the vote shares primarily.
Right.
Vote and seat conversion is something which is everybody has got its own formula and tries to do that, and there is no fixed formula, and it keeps on changing from election to election and situation to situation. So in the similar way, I would request you to do the same exercise with the vote share on the map. And with all my respect to all the pollsters out there, we belong to the same fraternity, but if you ask me, is there any number which I personally follow? I would mark out CSDS and Nielsen because we have been there for the last 15 years,
Exactly.
you know, and we have a track record, C-Voters, CSDS and Nielsen.
Correct.
So we know where, which way we are going, and I can tell you, what the seat share you have seen, and even in the vote share, I can assure you that these three polls probably would be within plus minus 1% variation to each other. They are by and large stabilized in terms of their methodology, in terms of their projection models.
Right.
So they don't really differ from each other, and because the vote shares are coming in the similar direction, that is why there is a homeostasis as far as the seat projection is also considered. There would be 1 or 2 seats plus minus in different states. So you have got today practically 30 states.
So let's get
You know.
Rahul Verma on this point. Mr. Rahul, would you agree with what Mr. Deshmukh is
Able to
saying in
hear
terms
you,
of...
yes.
Go ahead, sir.
Able to hear you clearly. So
Right. Right. Would you agree in terms of seat share and vote share? You've been around CSDS and Nielsen and C-Voter have been doing this for a while, exit polls and pre-polls. Would you agree that there would be a huge margin in getting the seat share and the vote share predictions?
see, match still on, right? The game is over, but we still don't know the final results. We'll know that on 16th. So whether we got it right or not right, that doesn't make a poll correct or incorrect. Polls are judged by their rigorous methodology. There may be some polls which may get it right by fluke, but doesn't mean their poll was right. So judge a poll by how representative their sample was. And I would agree with Yashwant here, who was talking about the sample size and basically having a spread of the sample. So first judge a poll by that. There may be a poll which is an outlier today, but it may get it right. It doesn't mean they had the right way of doing the poll. So most polls are not transparent about how they conducted their survey. CSDS, since not from today, since 1967, we have always been giving our sample sizes where we conducted our polls, where our questionnaires are online. Anyone can see that. And this game of number projecting and forecasting is just a very tiny part of what we want to do.
Right.
Our polls are more about social scientific research. Our researchers write papers, books using these data. So that's the larger concern. We work as a political scientist,
Absolutely.
not as a poll forecaster or cephalologist for one day in 5 years.
Right.
And let me point out to you the second thing. So it's not about how many people you interviewed. And Yashwant would agree with me here
Absolutely.
that sometimes big sample sizes are bad.
Yeah.
In statistics and in survey research,
Yeah.
very big sample sizes often tend to have bigger errors.
Yeah,
So what you
absolutely.
need to have
Thank
a
you, sir.
more representative sample. So for if you're making a forecast on India, any sample size in the range of 25 to 30,000 is good if your sample is representative. If you make a forecast in Delhi, any sample size about 1200 is good if you're making a forecast about Delhi. No polls make a forecast saying, oh, Chandni Chowk mein this guy is to win, or
Exactly.
Mumbai South this guy is going to win. Because
Yes.
you make forecast and you select your sample at the level of where you are unit of analysis. So for most polls, unit of analysis is the state
Right.
level. And that's where in my first point, when like I was speaking in the beginning, that in some polls we don't know what their
What they have done.
state level projections
Yeah,
are,
yeah.
Correct.
and
Yeah.
how many,
Great.
like if you go to IBN website, you will find out we have given like number of people interviewed in each state, number of locations we went to, how many females are in our interview, how many males, how many Hindus, how many Muslims. Basically, a sample survey is when you mirror the population profile.
Okay, I'll get in we have a very interesting concept and a contest going on in terms of getting our viewer participation on India Post Live. We have the Hum Bole predictions with grand prizes. So each of you taking a look at our website can participate, and this is the prediction we've had so far. In terms of alliance wise, a lot of our viewers have given UPA 141. And NDA 235, whereas the third front getting about 75 and others 102. In terms of party-wise, Hum Bole predictions that have come in from very, very aware and interested viewers and participants who are keenly observing the elections this time around and have a say in it, want to have a say in it, have given party-wise the Congress about 107 seats and BJP about 203. Whereas AAP getting 37 and the others getting 164. So AAP is obviously generating a lot of interest among our young viewers as well, and participants giving their opinions and encouraging people to talk about the AAP. Dilip?
I think that as both Yashwant and our friend from the CSDS were saying, when you look at your sample size for Hum Bole,
Right.
and I think it's an exciting contest to be able to predict for yourself
Yes.
and hopefully win some prizes. But the fine point is that it also reflects your audience profile. It's clearly young people who are enthused about the possibility of change, who are pushing that figure up. It's as it were desire trumping over calculation. But that's fine. Meaning, I think this is not an opinion poll. It's really a kind of
Individual poll.
an individual assessment of or an individual hope, which is then aggregated,
To
which
a
is fun.
collective
Yeah,
hope,
I
right.
think that's great fun, because ultimately, if you can do this with multiple cohorts, then you will be actually doing crowdsourcing of the kind that all of them are salivating at doing, because you'll be getting.
I
you'll
tried
be-
that this
yeah.
time.
Oh.
It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the real results to figure out and
see whether it works.
see whether it works, because I floated an experimental website called wikipredict.in
Very
and
good.
asked everybody to predict at state level.
Excellent.
And I put in the all the poll numbers. Did a poll of the polls, made that poll of the polls as the default number, and asked everybody to put up and down. And it is very interesting the way crowdsourcing. Of course, it's not coming for Aam Aadmi Party as much, because probably,
went to other
but
states.
I got quite a good variety of
Variety of
people,
people,
coming
right.
in, and especially senior journalists who are doing it by pseudonames, by the way, who are
Very interesting.
not asking me to give their names.
What's interesting about the Hum Bole prediction, we have grand prizes including a sedan car. So do put in your predictions. You can revise it till the final day of May 16th when the counting begins and the real numbers come out. You can continue to revise the predictions and numbers that you are giving to the parties or the alliances as per your thoughts and what the perceptions that you have. Log on to our website India Post Live. Also, you can use hashtag HumBole on our Twitter handle at India Post Live, and keep putting in your views and feedback and take forward this interesting conversation of what the pollsters have predicted and given in terms of seat and party share. One last view I'll give in to Professor Athreya, if you're there. Is it advantage TRS in Telangana and Congress not looking at any positive strokes in the south, especially in Andhra?
Yeah, can I come back to something else? I mean, I'll come back to that. But basically, you see, there's a bit, I'm afraid there's a bit of a denial here from our pollster friends. You see, the point is not about sampling. I think any bunch of statistically trained people can sit and figure out a good sampling design for any given level of resources you're willing to invest. But the problem really comes to the quality of field work, the time frame within which you work, the quality of the fieldwork interview situation. Non-sampling errors are huge, and they're not random. They're often biased in specific directions. I think, it's interesting that none of these guys from 2004 and 9 have gone into why they got it so wrong, or maybe they haven't seen it. What I'd like to see is an honest analysis of why 2004 2009 is so wildly wrong.
Professor, we have a very interesting conversation in the next couple of minutes. If you could also join in on that about what really went wrong in 2004 and 2009. So we'll definitely get some views and analysis on that in our next conversation. If you could take us through the advantage TRS in Telangana, sir, quickly.
Well, you see, I think for the municipal election results are out now. You've seen them.
Yes.
And you've seen the VSRC doing quite relatively less well, and TDP doing very well. But I don't think municipal elections are going to be on the same grounds on which people vote in national elections. So I suspect that the outcomes in Telangana, I'm not TRS will sweep it, no question, because Congress is seen as a latecomer to the whole bandwagon and has also been messing up the whole division of the state. So Congress will not gain in Telangana, it will not gain in Andhra as far as the national elections concerned. So I'm not surprised that the others are doing well. But Congress has done pretty well in the municipal elections in Telangana area. Notice that.
Okay. Thank you so much, Professor. On that note, we'll try and get more views on our website and our Twitter handle @IndiaPostLive. So do write in and take this conversation forward. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining us and taking out time to give us your perspective on what the pollsters have predicted. Thank you so much, Mr. Gaurav Jain, Rahul Verma, and Professor Venkatesh Athreya, and also Yashwant Deshmukh sir, who joined into the studio with C Voter and the predictions they have. Do log in and keep watching IndiaPostLive.com. Thank you.